The chairman cum managing director of MeECL, Sanjay Goyal, on Friday informed that the department is exploring the options to set up additional sources of generation of power within the state, which will include the small hydropower projects, as well as the possibility of the solar projects in the state and in the long run. The feasibility of setting up a thermal power projects in the state is being explored. Furthermore, Goyal added that the state has suffered one of the longest load shedding problems this year. However, the situation has drastically improved and the state has resorted to small hours of load shedding during late nights.
The kind of problem which we faced during the peak of the summers this year was unprecedented because of various reasons. One was that our entitlement from the central generating units had gone down very drastically. And second was that we were under legal obligation to return the power which we have used in the last winters in the state. So all combined, there was a shortage of the power, and that's why this load shedding in different parts of the state during different time was resorted to. But as of now, the situation has drastically improved, and there's hardly any load shedding during the critical times in any part of the state, and we are of course resorting to very small time of load shedding, that too at very odd hours during late nights, so that it is having the least inconvenience to the public. That said and done, we are now in the process of looking into various alternatives. We have engaged NTPC as our partner, who are working on the portfolio management of the energy in the state, and at the same time we are looking at the options of how to reduce the cost of procurement of power from outside the state, whether it is through the exchange or it is through the central generating units. We are looking after their, looking and examining their power purchase agreements, and as looking through the possibilities of seeing whether we can get cheaper power from other parts of the country, especially the solar power during the daytime, so that we can reduce our cost of procurement. The other side of this would be that we look after the possibilities or go into the possibilities of additional source of generation within the state, which will include the small hydropower projects as well as the possibilities of the solar projects in the state. And of course, in the long run, we see the feasibility of setting up a thermal power project also in the state. As a department or as a corporation, we would like to have in situ kind of the project which is nearer to the coal area. But as everybody is aware that we have just initiated the process of having the scientific coal mining in the state, which is very important, because any investment into such huge projects would require the first and foremost requirement would be the perfect linkage of the coal. If the coal availability is not there, the investment doesn't make much sense. So we are exploring those possibilities, and in the days to come, I'm sure something good is going to turn up, and then we can take a decision. The generation capacity is around 360 megawatts, but giving, as you are aware, and the entire public is aware, that all our projects are run-of-the-river projects except for Umyam, wherein we dam the water and we can produce the electricity as per the desired timing. Just all are run-of-the-river projects. We can't store the water much. So that is the biggest challenge which we face, and most of the rivers are seasonal in nature. So during the winters, we hardly have any water for production of the electricity, and that's how this crisis come up in the winter, where we advance bank the power or we go for the purchase of the power. As I mentioned, that now we are generating quite sufficiently, but since we have to return the power which we have taken in the winters, where we hardly generate anything on our own, that's how this mismatch happens. So these projects which are installed is 370 megawatt, but what we get out of them even during this peak season, because the variability in the rainfall even during the monsoon is very high, we get somewhere average of around 240 megawatts from all the units. It's about how do we manage our portfolio, as I mentioned, how do we manage our demand and supply. That's why we are trying to save as much water as possible in Umyam, so that we can utilize it during the winters. As I mentioned, Umyam is the only project which we have where we can dam the water and can use it as per the requirement. Rest all are run of the river projects. We can't store the water. That means we have to generate. So we are working out. I'm sure that in the coming winters we should not face much of the problem.